Hello. This is the Revisionist Report, and these are your hosts, Keegan and Howie. It's definitely been a while, we know, but life has gotten in the way, and we've finally been able to basically get back on track. So we're going to do a quick little blurb on the 4th of July and what America means to us on this day and all that sort of cheesy stuff. But yeah, without further ado, Howie, do you have anything to add?
No, I just thanks for being patient with us, folks. And this is just going to be a quick little rough thing, not our hour-long mammoth episode. So expect just our thoughts for the next 20 or 30 minutes,
Yeah.
and I think it'll be a little bit interesting.
Yeah. So no edits, no. This is basically going to go up right after we finish.
This is us just wanting to America-gasm.
Yeah, basically.
And I just thought we'd start off with being the Revisionist Report. A little bit of context for everybody, because everyone knows fireworks, everyone knows hot dogs, and the, Macy's Day fireworks show is pretty big. But historically, what we're supposed to be doing is what Thomas Jefferson said would be a festival until the end of time to be celebrated. And he actually thought it would be celebrated on July the 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, July the 2nd is actually when the Continental Congress passed a resolution officially declaring independence from the British Empire. But what happened was they 2 days later said, well, we have to make a declaration, we have to make it really fancy for the public so that we can do readings and everything. That's how you pass the message along back then. And on July 8th, a couple days after that, when they had it all done, they rang the Liberty Bell, and it was a big festival for the first reading of the Declaration of Independence. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that declaration wasn't signed by most of the delegates until August 2nd, and the last delegate to sign it signed it over a year later. So who knows when our actual Independence Day is, so we're just going to go with the 4th of July.
And it sounds nice, too. July 4th.
Yeah. It'd be weird to be July the 2nd. The 2nd of July? No.
Yeah. It's gotta be
Jefferson
the
knew what
4th.
he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
He
Absolutely.
fixed it.
But the whole impetus behind this episode was I was driving back to Tallahassee from Gainesville, and I was listening to a collection of songs from the Civil War recorded by contemporary artists, and excuse me, it was really just a wake up call to what makes me so much of a believer in America. And it's not necessarily the politics at all. In fact, that's probably something that would detract from my
Right now, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. But it was a huge, it allowed me to tune in a little bit to what makes America so special, and it's really something that makes all cultures special in their own way. It's their art, it's their music, right? It's their history, it's the geography that encapsulates that area. I mean, what's America without the Grand Canyon, right? Or the Appalachians,
Yeah, it really is amazing.
The landscape in and of itself, the music, they're all part of one giant organism in many ways. I was listening to one song called Dear Old Flag that I think we might tag on to the end of this, at least maybe in later versions of it when we get it up on SoundCloud and stuff like that. But it's just a great song about a drummer boy who's wounded on the battlefield and he's dying. And he wants his, basically it's like an ode to his mother and saying, don't worry about me, I died for the flag. And regardless of what your opinion on the flag is, what you think it symbolizes, what you think it means, it's an ideal, right? And I think that is what I find extremely powerful about that particular song. But Howie, did you have anything to?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, preparing yesterday, and it's just amazing that you have such a non-homogeneous culture.
Yeah.
And you still have, 310 million people celebrating this day. in basically the same way, but also more like fantastically different.
Yeah.
Same in that we're all celebrating for the same reason and same cause, and I don't think anyone detracts from honoring the country today and honoring those who protect us and all that. Definitely something to be admired, but you have different customs doing it. You have people blowing their hands off with fireworks, and you have people eating hot dogs, but you've also got parades and awareness and speeches being made, and just the fact that we're able to celebrate a mixing of people. Because that's what I think the real difference is. It's not Buffalo through the Great Plains, and it's not just the 100, 250, almost 41 years that we've been around. It's that we've just been a country based off an ideal, and not a country based off a culture specifically, or a group of people that lived here forever.
Yeah.
And Keegan and I said it yesterday a lot, and you alluded to it with your politics comment, but we have serious problems, and we talk about that, and that's what the normal show is for, and that's what, commentary of all sorts is for. But I think that it is good to have a day and to do something like this where we just talk about and celebrate the greatness of this place, because you've got we're in Florida, so we've got SoFlo, where Spanish is practically
The lingua franca.
yeah, and then we've also got huge Chinatowns in some of our biggest cities. We've got immigrants of all nationalities, cultures, ethnicities. And everyone just being invited to that party is a great thing. So
Yeah.
I think I harped on the America a little bit, but
Well, yeah, and it's the politics thing that we've been talking about, kind of skirting around, is something that, and we talked about this a bit yesterday. Like, we may be the shining city on the hill, but that's not to say that it's not a dirty city.
yes,
And
it's just we have to remember to still celebrate it and still remember that we're still here.
Yes,
We're still a great force in the world. We have done great things historically. We should be very proud of our nation today, and not forget that we have room for improvement and things we need to work on, but also not forget the progress that we've made. I mean, if you think about the 2 million odd people that were here when the country was founded, turning into that 310 million, it wasn't all through babies being born, and we didn't just take the entire continent and create something wonderful by ourselves, and we didn't do it without our credo, that freedom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we should never look at what's wrong in our society and look at it as a failure of the country, because our country is built on an ideal that we will never actually achieve, right? But it's a goal for us to strive for, and that's what propels each generation to do bigger and better things. And because we're not a nation of ethnicity or whatever, that because we're a nation of values and of a belief system, we can continuously perfect ourselves.
Yeah, and we've had periods where we've been a little bit more isolationist, or we've obviously Keegan, you were talking about Southern culture, and obviously there was a civil war. I mean, yeah, we've had our downward spirals, but we always seem to bounce back. And Keegan and I like to talk about things in the scale of empires and history, and centuries go by to us as passing comments sometimes. But I think it's important to remember that we're only in our third. We're about halfway through, not even our third century as a country. We've got a little bit longer as hegemons, and I think being responsible with that power and using it. I mean, our country does on a daily basis great things all over the world. So try to remember that. Try to
Yeah.
remember that for every comment about the American empire that we will, rave against, like, should we be spending this much or whatever? I mean, we do have people risking their lives to safeguard shipping lanes that help everyone on the planet. We're part of the reason why, like we were talking about yesterday, Keegan, that extreme poverty has been cut in half since World War II, while still increasing the population. I mean,
Yeah.
freedom and democracy, they
work.
We've had our missteps, but we really have done good in general in the long term.
Yeah.
And that is not true for every culture and all points in history, so be proud of that, America.
Yeah, and when you kind of brought back up the Civil War stuff, it reminded me of another thing I love so much about America, like the idea and the story of America, are the small stories that we hear about individuals. And there's this one of my favorites of these anecdotes is about the McLean family, who basically.
The McLean family?
The McLean family, yeah. So basically, the McLean family, they lived by Bull Run, by Manassas, and it was the first big battle of the Civil War was basically fought on their front lawn. And so they, did what any sane family would do, and they moved as soon as the battle was over. They don't want to be near that ever again.
Right.
Fast forward to the very end of the war, Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia also happened to be where the McLeans moved to, and also where the final battle was. And so after the battle was over, basically the generals on both sides needed to find a place to formalize the end of the fighting. And they knocked on this door, and the guy that opened the door was Wilmer McLean, the father and the husband of the McLean family. And basically him and his family are the one people in the country that can say that the Civil War began in their front lawn and ended in their front parlor. And I just find that just utterly amazing of a story. I would love to see that. If there's ever going to be a definitive, HBO series on the Civil War, it's got to be bookended with the McLeans.
Well, I would like the next big Civil War movie, because, someone will do one eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
To have at least cameos of them. I think that'd be pretty
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
And it was practice. While, of course, you want to leave a battlefield if it's in your front lawn. Leave the area. There were times in some battles where people would sit on a hill and watch from afar.
Oh, yeah.
And those people, I mean, quintessentially American crazy, like.
Yeah, people actually went out to go watch
Yeah.
the McLean front lawn get cannoned to hell.
So, I think that's also a very American impulse while we're talking about it. I don't know. For me, we hit all the big points.
I think so.
I just would want to finish it up with saying, thank you to everyone that makes this country. That means every, hard worker, everyone that pursues that American ideal of,
Bettering yourself.
Yeah,
and
bettering
your family.
Yep, and I'm not trying to be political at all, but that idea that you pick yourself up and make the American dream happen for you, because it's possible here, because everyone works hard and invests in themselves. I think that's fantastic, and I thank every person that's come to this country to work hard and still to this day comes to this country, even with whatever climate's going on. And then obviously the people that fight for us.
Yeah.
And everything they sacrificed and have always sacrificed in every generation. So I think that's it for me. Happy 4th of July, everybody. We'll see you soon.
I think that's a great way to end it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to add.
Okay, cool.
That was great.
Well, this has been the Revisionist Report with Keegan Connolly.
And Howie Font.
All right.
And and we will have more regularly scheduled programming returning soon, so be on the lookout for that. And,
yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah, and have a good one, guys.